Make some noise for your amazing host.
Hey, good to see you. And good news, the parts for your truck came in, so we should have you back on the road in no time. Hope Falls will be a little quieter without you here, so make sure you come back and visit us. You've gotten to hear so much about the Israelite struggle and how hard it seemed for them to just listen to what God said. You might think that's crazy, but honestly, it sounds a lot like us. Listening to God and doing what He says isn't always so easy, but it is the right thing to do. We'll talk more about that later, but first, let's check in with Mr. Coyote.
Coming up.
We're testing out gravity. Will you fall for it? Don't wander too far. There's more off track right around the corner.
Let's check out what's next. We're going to watch a pre-show video, then we'll worship together, and then gather around the campfire for our Bible story. You can pause the video right now and select the download button below to access your Get Real guide. Inside, you will find everything you need to stay on track during the week, including questions to think about and fun games to play. It's a chilly night, so grab your jacket and let's check out this video.
Hey everyone, welcome back. We've got some fun stuff for you today. We are opening letters that you guys sent us. I'm really excited about this one. This one's got some weight to it and some very fun sounds. And we've got some secret letters hidden inside of these balloons. So I can't wait to find out what they are on this episode of Mail Time.
So our first letter is from Menifee. Ooh, this one says Mr. Coyote.
Cool.
This one says Mr. Coyote.
Oh, and?
Oh, this one says Mrs. Coyote.
There it is.
All right, you open that one.
I will.
And I'll open mine too when you're done.
Okay, so far I see a heart and a tree. And I think, here, I'm just gonna assume, this is a small drawing of me laying on the branch of a tree, reading what looks like a great book, and there's a hot air balloon floating by.
Okay,
so.
I want to tell you what's happening. So what's actually happening is that gravity stopped working. And so this tree fell over, and then you're like, oh, hold on to it because I'm about to float up. And then this right here is a net that's trying to catch you because you're falling. That's what I think's happening. Okay,
cool.
Here's mine. Mine also has a tree. I think that it is a birch tree. That's what I'm gonna say.
That's my favorite tree.
Ooh, it says, hi, I am Sophia. What do you think of my drawing? Okay, it looks like she did like kind of a Halloween theme.
Oh, that's
so we
fun.
have our little character right here with their hat, and this is a moon or a banana. Or a banana moon. I like that one. And on the back is a super awesome drawing. I know who this is. Okay, we have a drawing of Olaf. Okay, so we have like a mailman or a cookie delivery man or boy. And we have some Halloween stuff, and we have some snow stuff. Thank you so much for sending this letter in.
Okay, so this comes from our Sandals Church Anywhere campus in South Carolina, so all the way over here from Emily. Shout out to Emily. And inside, I told you it had a fun sound, and that is because
So awesome.
Emily, you are showing a heart of generosity. I don't know if this is money that you've earned or what it is, but you have shown awesome generosity by sending this in an envelope from South Carolina all the way to California. Thank you so much for this. I love seeing that.
Awesome. And friends, we have our 3 balloons sent in from Moreno Valley, from the Moreno Valley campus. Ooh, I did it. Ooh, I was not expecting purple and yellow.
Love it.
Okay, let's see your muscles.
Okay, don't watch. I'll do my best. No! Got it.
Very good. Whoa!
Ooh, fun.
Look at that. Once again, okay. Ooh, look at this. Colorful drawing. So this is a picture of a spider web and a spider in a really cool background.
So good.
This one says, Dear Sandals Church kids, thank you for helping the kids at Sandals Church. I drew a fall spider.
Nice.
So awesome. I love your fall spider. And I love this background. Very colorful, very fun.
It looks like it's from Annabelle.
Annabelle.
Annabelle, yes. Okay, this one looks like it is from our friend named Jackson. Up here, it looks like he's written all of his numbers inside boxes, very well organized. And it looks like right here, hiding in the grass, he drew this fun little dog peeking out. I see his little floppy ears and his fun little eyes. Jackson, great job. Love your drawing.
Not bad.
This one has a lot of art on it too. Okay.
That is a lot of art. Look at all that art.
All right, this next one comes from our friend Corey, and it looks like over here he drew a little picture of Louis Letter. You can barely see it. It's in white crayon, but I can see it. It's there.
Louis Letter. He drew a picture of Louis Letter.
I love it. Thank you so much, you guys. Thanks for all these fun letters. Thanks for letting us pop these balloons. And if you're watching right now and you're wondering, how do I get a letter on mail time? Well, there's a couple ways you can do that. Number one, you can obviously send it in a balloon. That's a great way to start. Number two is you can send us a physical letter in the mail at 150 Palmerita Avenue, Riverside, California, 92507. Or you can send us an email with a drawing or a question, a recipe, a challenge, an idea, an invention, whatever you want. You can email us at mail@sandalskids.com. However you want to do it, we love hearing from you guys. We love hanging out with you right here on Mail Time. We'll see you next time.
Friends, it is time for worship. Today, we are talking about how God rescues the faithful, and that means we can choose to be faithful to only God. Being faithful to God is a big choice that we have to make. And we don't just make that choice once, we have to make that choice over and over again, each and every day. There are things that tempt us and distract us from being faithful to God. So as you worship, think about some of those things that might be. Is it friends at school, shows you're watching, decisions you're making? Think about how to be faithful to God this week as we stand up together and worship.
God doesn't let sin win. God doesn't let sin win. We sin over and over again when we're mean to our friends and we push people away. That's the outcome of our sin. But our God's gonna make it right and bring our sin into the light. He gives us hope we can't outrun because He cares about us. God doesn't let sin win. God doesn't let sin win. Hope will rise again. God doesn't let sin win. There's justice in the end. So be nice to your friends. God doesn't let sin win. Yeah, God's gonna make it right and bring our sin into the light. He gives us hope we can't outrun because He cares about us. Oh, God doesn't let sin win. There's justice in the end. So be nice to your friends. God doesn't let sin win. God doesn't let sin win. Oh, God doesn't let sin win. You have called me on a journey that'll last a whole life long. I can't do it on my own, but you are faithful to make me strong. Every valley set before me, every mountain that I climb, you go out before me. You go out before me, 'cause you are faithful. You're always faithful. Every promise that you make is a promise that you keep. You will never run away and you never give up on me. We lift your name up. We lift your name up. You never give up. You never
As we gather around the campfire today, we're talking about a story called Daniel and the Lions in No Mood for Food from the Bible in Daniel chapter 6, verse 1 through 28. We'll learn how God gives people who turn away from Him the fair justice they deserve, as well as the undeserved hope for the future. This week, we'll see how God rescues the faithful, and that means we can choose to be faithful to only God. So lean in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, hey, good news. I heard your truck got fixed and you guys are headed home soon. Well, let me go ahead and wash up here. You guys can join us at the campfire. We'll hang out and enjoy the night air for a little while. Okay, I want you guys to imagine if you were walking down the street one day and you suddenly found yourself at a crossroads. Now, on the right was a sheer cliff face, only a few feet wide, that dropped off so far you couldn't even see the bottom. And on the left was a big, wide road. Now, it sounds like a pretty easy choice to make, right? Well, I left out a few things. So also on the right was your best friend who told you that they could help you get past the cliff safely. And on the left, by the wide road, was a guard who told you that you could only go on the road if you betrayed your best friend by looking them in the eyes and telling them that you didn't like them. Well, that makes the choice way harder, right? So you either really have to trust your friend to help you across the unsafe path, or you have to betray them to go the easy route. Well, which one would you choose? Now, did you know that there was a guy in the Bible named Daniel who had a very similar choice to make? Well, go ahead, roast up those marshmallows, and I will tell you what happened next. Okay, so last week we left our story with 3 young Israelite men named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and they chose to obey God even though it meant that they would be thrown into a huge fire. Well, then we saw how God was with them and saved them from the fire. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego actually weren't the only Israelite men to be chosen to work in the royal palace when they were exiled or forced into Babylon. They had a friend named Daniel who also worked with them. So we pick up in our story a while after the fiery furnace incident with this friend, Daniel. So a while after King Nebuchadnezzar, a new king named Darius came into power in Babylon. He had chosen Daniel the Israelite to be in charge of his entire kingdom. Daniel had more power than anyone besides King Darius himself. And a lot of people were pretty jealous of Daniel's power and success. They wanted Daniel's power for themselves, so they tried to come up with a way to get King Darius to kill him. Daniel's enemies watched him day after day so they could catch him doing something, anything wrong. But Daniel was a really godly man, so they couldn't find anything to accuse him of. Instead, they came up with another plan. They had seen how Daniel prayed each day to the one true God. So they told King Darius to make a law that everyone could only pray to him. The punishment, if they didn't, was to be thrown into a den of roaring, ravenous lions. Well, Daniel had a choice to make. He could stay safe and pray to King Darius, who was definitely not God, or he could risk his life by praying to the one true God. Daniel did the right thing, and he prayed to the one true God instead of King Darius. The men trying to accuse Daniel saw this, and their evil plan had worked. They told King Darius about Daniel's prayers, and King Darius was very upset that he had to stick to his word and throw Daniel to the lions. He loved Daniel very much and trusted him with his life. King Darius stayed up all night trying to think of a way to save Daniel's life, but he just couldn't figure out a way. So the next day, he was forced to throw Daniel into the cave full of starving lions. King Darius knew this would be the end of Daniel's life. All night, King Darius couldn't sleep because he was so worried about Daniel. So the next morning, the king sprinted to the lion's den to see if Daniel was miraculously still alive. And guess what? Daniel was. God had saved Daniel's life by sending an angel to close the lions' mouths so that they couldn't hurt him. There wasn't one bite or one scratch on Daniel's whole body. King Darius was so thrilled that Daniel was alive. He killed Daniel's enemies by throwing them into the same lion's den, and he wrote a letter to his entire kingdom telling everyone that Daniel's God was the one true God. Can you imagine being in Daniel's shoes when he got thrown into a cave of lions? Talk about absolutely terrifying. It would have been so much easier if he had just prayed to King Darius. But Daniel chose to be faithful or loyal to God even when he knew it honestly might lead to his death. God honored Daniel's faithfulness by saving his life from the lions. We can be faithful just like Daniel. Now, we'll probably never have to make a choice to pray to God or be thrown into a cave full of lions, hopefully, but we can still be loyal to God no matter what. That might mean making the decision to not say God's name inappropriately even though your friends are doing it. Or it might mean spending a little time reading your Bible during your free time instead of playing video games or watching TV the whole time. Or it might mean being kind to the kid that nobody else cares about, even though you will get made fun of for it. Being faithful just means following God in whatever you do. God will reward those who are faithful to Him. And that's why the one thing to remember is that God rescues the faithful.
Being faithful kind of reminds me of something we see every day, all the time. Gravity. Gravity may seem common and boring, but have you ever taken a minute to think about it? We couldn't walk if there wasn't gravity. We just float. And that would be cool for a while, but can you imagine how long it would take to get somewhere? Or what about setting something down and walking away from it? It would just float away and you'd have no idea where it went. My puppy. Imagine trying to play sports without gravity. You couldn't dribble a basketball. A football would just float into the atmosphere every time you threw it, and the water in the pool you were trying to swim in would be everywhere but in the pool. Gravity is one of the many things that makes our lives consistent and predictable. For example, no matter how many times I drop this ball, it will always go down. Even if I throw it up, it will eventually come down. I can count on it. Being faithful is like gravity. When someone is faithful to something or someone, you can count on them no matter what. They're always predictable and always show up. God is a perfect example of being faithful. He was faithful to the Israelites in the Bible, and He is still faithful to us now. God is always good. He's always truthful and always loving. He always keeps His promises. God always shows up for us no matter what. Now, did you know that we can be faithful back to God? We can do that by loving God no matter what is happening in our lives. Just like Daniel was faithful when he kept praying to God, even though it meant he might lose his life. We can be faithful to God by doing things like praying, reading our Bibles, and being kind to others. God is the only one who will always be faithful to us, which is why He's the only one we should always be faithful to. And that's why our action step for today is that we can choose to be faithful to only God.
Hi, my name is Justine, and I want to tell you about a time I chose to be faithful to only God. When I was 11 years old, I joined the swim team and continued to swim all 4 years of high school. I loved swim so much that I wanted to keep swimming during college. But when I was 18 years old, I was told, actually, I was not good enough to swim on my college team. That was something I was not prepared to hear. I was sad and hurt because my life was wrapped around swimming. It was all I thought about. What would I do if I didn't swim? I knew I needed to fill my time with something in college, so I decided to join the women's choir since I did not make the swim team. The college choir gave me a scholarship, which means money to pay for school. I got to sing about Jesus and worship Him. Being in choir started to help me grow my personal relationship with God. Being in choir gave me a really great opportunity. I got to invite my stepdad to choir concerts. He doesn't believe in Jesus, and he doesn't like going to church. My choir was performing in different churches, and that was the only time he would step into a church. Can you believe he would come to all my concerts, sit in the front row of a church, bobbing his head, enjoying the songs about God? My stepdad got to hear the promises of Jesus through music. Then, 2 years into college, the swim coach invited me to be on the swim team. I was so excited, I said yes! That's what I always wanted. Then I became really busy, exhausted, going to swim practice, choir practice, working, and going to church, hanging out with friends, family, and going to school. My grades were suffering because I was too tired to study and do homework. I was missing swim practices and meets while trying to do choir at the same time, and my grades just kept getting worse. Doing it all just wasn't fun anymore. I had to make a choice. It was either choir or swim. I was just too tired and couldn't do it all. So I chose to be faithful to God by choosing to quit the swim team, which I loved and wanted for such a long time, and instead continued choir, where God had planned for me to be all along. Choosing choir meant I got money for school, I got to worship Jesus and grow in my relationship with God and see people's lives touched through songs about Jesus' promises. And my stepdad would also have an opportunity to hear about Jesus too. I was faithful to choose what God had planned for me and not what I wanted for my life. It was better. And just like I picked worshiping Jesus in choir over the swim team, you guys can choose to be faithful to only God too.
I'm going to go ahead and get back to your truck repair. I think we're pretty close to getting everything back together and getting you back on track. Let's take a look at our series memory verse from Ezekiel 36:26. It says, "Also, I will teach you to respect me completely. I will put a new way to think inside you. I will take out the stubborn heart like stone from your bodies, and I will give you an obedient heart of flesh." We saw in our story how Daniel was faithful to God, even if it meant he might lose his life to a den full of lions, and how God saved him. That's why the one thing to remember is that God rescues the faithful, and that means we can choose to be faithful to only God. You can live out the vision of being real with yourself, God, and others by opening up your Get Real guide to the now what. Draw a big, powerful animal. It can be a lion, a hippo, a python, a crocodile, an eagle, or any other cool, strong animal you like. Write or draw what makes your animal so powerful. Is it their teeth, claws, muscles? Did you know that God is more powerful than that animal and everything else in the universe? He is powerful enough to rescue us from anything, and He does it because He loves us. When we choose to be faithful or loyal to God, we are showing Him that we love Him too. We can't wait to see you next week.